What's up, guys? Welcome to Devlog 8. I'm Nick, Hybrid Mink. We're going to do a little bit of story. We're going to talk about preloaders. I'm going to show you some hyper moves I didn't show you last time. Let's get right into it. Should I let the game speak for itself, or should I narrate over it? Here we have the story of RAMMBOCK, a desolated, icy planet surrounded by 2 moons. We have Relicta, the planet. Meyer Luna, where our heroine Lucy is from, and Chist Luna, where our pilot Briar is from. The Empire, you might say. What brings them together? Who knows? Probably war. Usually it's war. I'm flying through this story, though. Here we have Anastasia and Andre, characters that will show up later in the story. But oh, it was an interrogation all along. It wasn't just narration. Continue. By the way, I do want you to read all this when the game comes out, but right now, do it quick. No spoilers. Briar was in an accident. And we had some text treatment. Briar, Ace, Transporter. What is that mysterious device? Nobody knows. I mean, you could probably guess. I'm not gonna tell you. You're smart enough. There's the Novus, the prototype ship from the Empire. Why are we showing this? It's a cool ship, right? Looks kind of familiar, doesn't it? Lucy. I'm sorry. Lucilier. Full name. She's a sergeant. Originally, she was just a scout, but I'm like, nah, she should be a sergeant. This drawing I've reworked many times. I think I'm happy with it now. But if the game doesn't come out within 2 years, I'm going to have to redraw it again. So hopefully not. But yeah, this interrogation is going on. Basically, Lucy shot down your ship, and the Empire is coming for you guys, and you have no way of getting off the planet. So you're trying to figure out what to do, and here's Cal. Here's some old Cal artwork. I need to redo this. This was basically the concept art that I made at the very beginning of when I worked on it originally. But wait. Galanth is her full name. Plasma Mechanic for hire. A mechanic that works with plasma. Plasma has become more and more important in this story as I've gone along. Here we see the 3 at the Resistance base on planet Relicta, which I just call Rel now, because who's going to say that every time? So they're talking, they're trying to figure things out. Briar's like, I'll fly, but I don't have a ship. And then Lucy's like, well, we got this weapon and we have this prototype ship, but we can't do anything with either of them. And then, of course, our Plasma Mechanic says, what if we combine them? The power of the RAM and the power of the twin fusion reactors on the Novus should support each other. And I didn't mention it in the story here, but basically the idea is that because Briar is a cyborg, he can handle like the force of just pushing that giant RAM out of that ship. If you ever saw Big O, just imagine just like this giant pile bunker coming out. Anyways, here's the RAMMBOCK shot. This is the key visual, I would say, but I might have to tweak it again. Uh-oh! What's happening? Bad guys are coming. Oh, here's some music. By the way, I found my old Rudra music. I had a lot of music commissioned for my old game, Rudra, which never came out. And I found it after years of searching for it. It was in some random folder in my hard drive. I'm like, why did I put this here? We have a tutorial level. Let's hide. Well, I've hide me. The rank isn't really used here. So, in case you're wondering, if you're a programmer, you're like, how is he getting all this amazing dialogue? Different themes and whatnot? I'm using a plugin called Dialogic. And it needed to be customized significantly to look the way it does now. But it made things easier, for sure. RAMMBOCK. I recorded that sound, by the way, by smacking my desk and tweaking it in Audacity. I think it's just supposed to be a drum. I might just replace it later. So here we have these dialogue options. There are a lot of dialogue options in this game. This is basically for the tutorial. Do you want to play the tutorial? We're going to say yes. Yeah, I don't remember what this song was originally designed for, but it just worked really well here. I might just keep it because it fits. I was gonna get someone else to make a song for this, but I kind of like it. All right, so let's learn the game. In this section, you can only shoot. You cannot do anything else. I press everything else. I had to block it. I had to refactor the logic to make it work. But yeah, now you can only do that. Oh no, I can slow down, but I can't. Oh, there we go, there we go. I thought I screwed things up. Got him! Alright. Reinforce. Accelerated. Mass. Munition. The ram attack. It also destroys bullets. Lucy is like the straight man of this comedy trio. So yeah, you can only ram here. And you can see I have these new rock enemies. Got some nice cracks there, and if I slow down, you can see the debris coming off. All that rock debris coming off. Lasers won't reach grounded enemies. I did not want to put grounded enemies in this tutorial because you could see it's constantly scrolling, and that would make things a lot harder to figure out, so I just made the small floating rocks. Whatever, it's sci-fi, you can make floating rocks, right? We're talking about plasma now. The on-chip UI shows you have one of 3 segments of plasma which you can use to dash. So now we learned about the dash attack. And these bigger rocks take 2 hits. You can do multi-hits on bigger enemies, depending on what I allow. Now we're talking about the burst. Here's some collectible bursts. If you don't, you get 1 segment from hitting an enemy, but you can collect these to get full burst. We're talking about how the burst gets bigger depending on your rank. And now we're talking about a more advanced technique. Well, I'll let them speak for themselves here. The burst cancel. So if I don't do the burst cancel, give 3 chances. She says, try again. But now if we do the burst cancel, whoop, you don't have to do it 3 times. You only have to do it once, and it'll accept it. A couple of fighting game jokes there. Yes, I did notice that it has a trajectory difference depending on where I am. Yes, I noticed that. Telling you about chains and the bonuses you get from chaining. We spawn a little rock here. You cannot touch it. Little thing I had to put in here. So yeah, depending on where you're at, it'll fire at 3 different angles. No lock-on. It's all based on your position in regards to the enemy. We're almost done with the tutorial. You might have noticed the background is scrolling faster. It scrolls faster with every tutorial. What's that? I should make little rocks falling when that happens. I could some other time. Gotta keep going. These are all new animations here. What was that? A little transition. A little intro here that I made. A little more dialogue. She's talking about how, oh, are you ready? If you want my trust, you have to defeat all these guys in front of you who are from your homeland. Can you do it? And then Cal's like, trying to like smooth things over. I wanted to have like a little quote there before the level starts. And here we go. The level just starts at this point. We get the title treatment, music changes, and you're probably familiar with this. This is level 1. Oh, I don't know if the narrow bullets were in before. That might be new to you guys too. But anyways, yeah. While I'm here, I'll show you hyper moves. I showed the laser last time. Let's go into debug, go to R rank. And this is a refresher. There's the Ram Boom, which I don't know if I want to call it that, but it's called that right now. Basically, you get a bigger hitbox and an explosion. This is the beam from before. You might remember this. It shoots bigger bullets, and if you hold the button down, you get a beam. And then there's one more. We got the burst, which normally looks like this. But when you're in max mode, hyper mode, whatever you want to call it, you get a full screen wave. Which I actually took my CRT shader and kind of tweaked it to get this. No, I took the beam and I kind of like tweaked it a little bit. So yeah, those are the new hyper moves. And there's a preloader, by the way. Put the camera back on. So yeah, tutorial stuff did with Dialogic. Had to customize it a lot, but I think it was worth it. Made things easier, maybe so I can have my timeline organized in a way that was probably easier than just having a wall of code for everything else. So let's go down the list of things that I've written down. Tutorial, dialogue, tweak the art. Some of the art in the intro story I had to tweak. Some of it was drawn 2 years ago, maybe even more. Character titles, you saw that. Uh, Adjusted the ship logic to allow all that tutorial stuff. I had to change a few things. The rock enemies and the debris. The debris is pink when you get meter from it, so it's like just a little visual flair there. Um, the preloader. So I really wanted a preloader to make it so that when something was coming up, the game wouldn't hitch. Because before, when something would get loaded, it would just kind of like hitch, and that looked bad. So yeah, here's a preloader right here. If I start the game up, you might notice it very quickly, but because I have an NVMe drive, see at the bottom right there, load right here, it loaded here. It loads quickly. But some people have potato computers, and then just in general, like, you never know. What if I make something huge, you know? So I got a preloader. I looked at a tutorial for a load script on YouTube, and I looked at a few of those, and I'm like, how come there's no preloaders? So I just came up with my own version of that, where you create threaded loading in Godot, and then you set a signal and say, okay, just hang on, it's loaded, but don't do anything with it. And then you just send a command, and then you spawn it where you want it to spawn. So that's really convenient. It's especially convenient when we go to the boss fight, which, hey, you know what? Let's just jump to that next. So in my level manager, let's say ignore story, so that we don't see any of those cutscenes. That's already in. I made sure, as I was working on it, I made sure that we can ignore story so I don't forget later. And then when we go to my map center, we say debug mode, custom start point, and I have it set to right before the boss. Now, before the boss was just in the level, it meant that level 1 took like twice as long to load, and then the boss would just instantly start. So I changed it so that now the boss will only load all of its stuff, all of its hurt boxes, all that stuff when I tell it to. It's mostly not broken. So let's go into level 1, and you'll see this guy you might remember. The Scrapper boss. You see the little load screen up there. And we have a bit of my... See the Scrapper title screen. A bit of my debug stuff is still on screen. And yeah, he just works now. That was not the case yesterday. I had to do a lot of work in order to get him to get refactored. Because before, he was just in the stage, and all of his movement was like, all right, it just worked. But now when I'm saying, okay, spawn him at this location, then it was like, it was jumping all over the place. So that was a bit of work I had to do on that. The Scrapper has a quick kill. Let's just put him on screen for theme. Here we go. The Scrapper has a quick kill now. I had to refactor him a little bit. I'm not going to tell you how. That one is going to remain a secret. But if you're not an idiot, you'll figure it out. And the internet exists. Anyways, bay hazards. The bays, when they're destroyed, produce a hazard that hurts you when you hit it. Before, they weren't spawning in the right place. Sometimes, most of the time they were, sometimes they weren't. I refactored that. Now it's always pixel perfect. Yeah, that's the basic gist of the boss fight. I showed you the hyper moves. Did not show you the dash hyper. I'm still thinking about what to do on that one. Preloading logic. Yep. Refactoring the HUD. So the HUD was originally tied in to the level script, and I separated the level script into what I think I touched on earlier was the level manager script. So that thing handles all the dialogue inputs. It sets the base settings for the ship, all the things that I just like miscellaneous things. They're on the level manager, and then I separated the HUD into its own scene. So now the HUD is just exists like this in its own scene, and I can put it in any level, and it will work the same. So I thought that was going to take a ton of work. It only took like half a day. But who knows? Maybe there'll be something that I didn't anticipate that's actually broken. We'll find out. A lot of refactoring. The debug and controller keyboard detection, I put on an autoload script. That doesn't seem very exciting, but it was a bit of work. The projectiles weren't homing in properly. Fixed that. I don't even remember what the problem was. It was dumb, probably. And then the diver enemy, which I'll just show you real quick, is this guy. For some reason, his animation tracks just got deleted. Or not deleted, but like disconnected. And I was like, oh my god, I'm going to have to do all the animations all over again. But no, if you just kind of go in here and you look at the animation track and you double click on it, it'll show you the location and the address. And I was just able to tweak them. I had to tweak all of them, but it's better than redoing all the animations. So that one had me really worried. But I was able to get that done pretty quickly. And yeah, this is my second time recording this video, and I did it way faster this time, so you're welcome. Fairly large amount of stuff done, and I think next up, man, as much as I would love to jump to level 2, there's still a lot more to be done. You saw the brief intro with the boss. It's going to be more complicated than that. There's going to be some dialogue there, and I already have the dialogic stuff in place, so it should be pretty easy to implement that. A bit of debugging I still got to do on the boss as well. And then I don't know. I have a huge list of things, but I'm not going to go over them. You'll find out in the next video. I appreciate you watching all the way to the end. If you'd like to support me, you could head to patreon.com/hybridmink. That's one of the best ways to support me in continuing to make this game. And you can also go to hybridmink.com/RAMMBOK. All the devlogs are there in one place. And then twitch.tv/hybridmink is where I stream just about every night. Feel free to stop in and ask questions. I'm hoping to have a Steam store page up by February. Don't think I'm going to make it in time for this next fest, but maybe. We'll see. You only get one shot, so I might wait till the summer. And but definitely something pretty substantial early next year. Yeah, thanks again for watching the video, and that'll wrap it up. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.